Our theme through this holiday season has been the holy pause, the power of simplicity. And today is the moment, this week really is the moment of that holy pause between the birth and the new year. It's that time like if you were actually physically birthing a baby, it's that first few days you go home. And hopefully you're still and quiet and adjusting to a new normal because everything has changed. Everything has the potential of changing. And so we celebrate this. Whew, we got past Christmas. Anybody else feel like that in this very strange, complicated world? And then on Thursday, we'll do our burning bowl. And so we'll have a grand release, Power of Simplicity. That'll all be virtual online. And then the following Sunday, we're going to do our white stone, which is really receiving from this big open space. So today is about beginning to really hold that space open. So as you may know, and you're getting to know, I like to always start with a story or a joke. So it's the day after Christmas. There's a big church in San Francisco, and they've had this big outdoor creche and manger scene, and all of the characters that we talked about the last few times we've been talking about. And the pastor of that church got up Christmas morning and just stretched and went, Christmas Eve was fabulous. And he walked over to the church, which of course was right next door, and he went to gaze at the manger scene, and baby Jesus was gone. And he went, who stole baby Jesus? Who could do that? Unbelievable, somebody stole baby Jesus. And he's looking all around, he's like, what? Just befuddled. And he looks down the road, and there's a little boy pulling a wagon. He says, young man, what do you got there in the wagon? He goes, I got baby Jesus. He goes, where'd you get him? I got him at the church. Well, the pastor is about to what you might do. Why did you steal baby Jesus? But he caught himself. He said, why did you take baby Jesus? And the little boy, in all of his innocence, he said, well, I'll tell you. You see, about 2 weeks ago, I did a prayer to baby Jesus. I said, Jesus, if you bring me a red wagon for Christmas, I promise I'll take you for a ride. One of my favorite. I mean, I love this Sunday of the year, of all the year, because I can tell that story. It doesn't work so well other times of the year. But this is the moment where we can lay our hustle down, where we can choose to be done with the busyness. I know there's still lots to do. I mean, look at the trees, the decorations. We have to take all this down. But I told the staff, I said, no. Well, number one, we're closed. We can't have any volunteers in. Our campus is closed. Our ministry is well open and alive and present. I said, let's leave it up. Let's take this pause. So we're going to still have Christmas decorations likely next week, which I personally love. So, but take a minute. Really take a minute. This was a super powerful year with our planet conjunctions, Jupiter and Saturn, with the COVID and the crazy complicated world we had this year. Just take a breath, just with me now, right? 3 times. One more, deep inhale. Let the stress, the worry, the burden fall off your shoulders. Just drop it. Just shake it off, at least for the moment, at least for today. Let it go. Come on, guys. There you go. Now we're getting it. We were praying in this morning, too, before the service, and then open the space. Because the truth is, when you're busy and when you're hustling, when you're trying to get things done, when you're move, you don't take the time to create the space. So if you want to be super successful, embrace the concept that rest, recovery, rejuvenation are equally important to our doingness, because we're really moving into a place of being where our being is the most important. And when we land in our beingness, in the spaciousness of consciousness, then our doing comes more naturally, but it's a softer, gentler, maybe more focused doingness. It's the spaciousness, truly, that leads to a happy and successful life. So this is this auspicious, sweet, sweet, sweet time of the year. I want to create spaciousness in my words. I want you to feel the spaciousness in my words. I want you to feel the spaciousness in this moment. Don't rush. Don't rush to undecorate. Don't rush to put things away. Don't rush to get back to normal. Oh my gosh, do we want to get back to normal? Guess what? It's not going to happen. So give it up. Don't rush to get back to normal, but open up. Like, what is it? Some of the things I've been saying to the staff and the board is what is it that we've always done because we've always done it that we don't need to do anymore? I say it to you too. What is it that you spend your time doing and doing and doing that you've always done because you've always done it that you might not need to do anymore? Drop it. Let it go. Clear the space. And as we clear the space, especially in this solstice, this conjunction, the power of this is amazing. The power of the Star of Bethlehem, but the power of the conjunction. Jupiter represents like action and doing, and Saturn represents like wiping the slate clean and then starting anew. So it's so perfect for this year. It's so perfect that it came. You almost wonder if there was a bigger plan to all of this, or a bigger map of all of this, all of that we've walked through this year. Maybe so. But Saturn also represents don't get up and do, do. Saturn represents taking a step back, realizing that the journey is equally important as the destination. So slow down. You move too fast. Gotta make the feeling last. Feeling groovy. That's really my husband's here in the room, so I'm waiting for him to pop up and sing, but we didn't mic him. Next time we will. Or we'll bring you right up. From Isaiah 7, it says, "And say unto him, take heed and be quiet." Take heed and be quiet. Now, slowing down, a lot of us, when we slow down, we like, lay out on the couch and binge on Netflix. Anybody? But being still is disengaging from the busyness of the mind, disengaging from the busyness of the outer world. It's about going within. And when you be still, then you can begin anew. When you be still, it's like wiping the slate clean. That's part of what we'll be doing on Thursday at the Burning Bowl, and then starting with a clean slate next Sunday on the White Stone. But for right now, it's about honoring the space between the birth and the new. Honoring the space. Honoring the space. Maya Angelou says, we delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but we rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty. This is a moment, a week, to reflect, to honor the changes. We have had nothing but change this year. From the first moment, I was talking to a friend. It's like, last year we were looking at, Facebook gives you a year ago today, right? So a year ago, we're like, yeah, it's going to be an awesome year. I can't wait. This is the year all of our dreams are coming true. This is going to be a smooth sailing year. That was not what it was for me. That is not what it was for so many of us. And yet, it was a year of like churning up, like everything was churned. Everything was shook. Everything was wobbled. But the truth is, you can't change anything until there's a wobble. Creation itself starts in chaos. We've been talking that this is the birth of the age of Aquarius. This is the birth of the fifth dimension. This is the birth of the Christ consciousness. This is the birth of a new humanity. It is already here and right now. And we get to, have to choose it. Because there's really two, at least, dimensions of consciousness going on right now. We have the old, we have 2020, which could go on. I keep thinking I am staying up till midnight on the 31st because I want to make sure that calendar turns over. Anybody else? Right? I keep thinking of Groundhog Day, where remember the movie where he's like whatever that day is, that he has again and again and again and again and again. Like the alarm clock goes off on January 1st, 2020 again. And January 1st, 2020 again. No, we don't want that. We want to catapult into 2021. And we want to use everything we learned and everything that was shook up and everything that we were challenged with and every place that we were stretched and wrung out and twisted and contorted. We want to use all of that to fully and completely step into 2021, to step into the new. But you still get to choose because you can continue to look at what is. You can continue to look at the pandemic and the economic things and the political things and the climate things, and you can continue to be tied up in knots about it. But there's a new consciousness that's already here, and this is beauty, and it is joy, and it's spaciousness. I've been playing for the last year and 3 or 4 months with what I call my global consciousness group, and we play all the time, every single week. And what we are playing with is we're playing in the quantum field. And we're playing in, I say playing because it's so much fun, but we're landing, like we're rising, we're raising our consciousness and like peeking over the edge of what is to what is. And what we're discovering there is such beauty. It's innovation. It's creativity. It's collaboration. It's miraculous outcomes. It's expansive. It's joy-filled. It's how I have been able to navigate through some of the really tough stuffs in my life, the tough stuff in my life this year, because I have this consciousness that's holding me, that's lifting me, that when I crash and crumble, and I've done it a couple of times this year, well, probably more than twice, but 2 really significant times, it's just like I can't do it, but I can lean into this consciousness, and I'm lifted, and I'm reminded, just as our sign up on underneath the camera says, with God all things are possible, from Matthew 19. With God all things are possible, but not a God out here. Not a God sitting up in the sky picking and choosing who he's blessing. It's not that. That's still dualistic, but we're moving into oneness where we come to know that presence of God that is within us. But not only within us, because that still has a little dualistic feel to it, but is us. And when we land in this expanded place, when we land in the new humanity, when we land in this point of stillness, we find allness. And we find isness. Some of the language is hard to say because it's like the language that we have doesn't it doesn't express the feeling, the experience of it. But when you land in isness, like just go ahead and land in isness with me right now. You might be going, wait, what? Which, by the way, is my most favorite thing for my students to say to me. Wait, what? Like, it means you're grappling with your mind. It means you're getting out of your mind. You want to get out of your mind because the mind is 95% unconscious, and that 75% of the 95% that's unconscious is negative. But when you can drop the mind, when you can grapple with the mind, when you can expand, drop underneath, expand above, get out of your mind and into your heart, but even into the place of oneness, you find isness. So come over here with me, right? You can move or not move, but you go, okay, isness. This life is tough. I don't like this and that, and I'm worried about this and that and that and that and that and that, right? 2020, But drop it. Just drop it. Pivot. Take 3 or 4 or 5 steps and come land in isness. It's not outside of you. It's a consciousness that is within you. So drop into your beingness, into that point of stillness. Land there. And let it all go. And the thing that happens is it all goes. You can have a mystical experience any moment you choose to get out of your head. There's a vibration, there's a frequency, there's an expansiveness, there's a stillness. Michael Beckwith says this. We know we like Michael around here. Let's see if I can find it in all my notes. Michael Beckwith says, as your spiritual character begins to emerge and you identify more with who and what you really are, you begin to live vibrationally in a world that most people can't see. That's what we're talking about. Most people can't see where we are starting to live. It's not a judgment, but it's an invitation. Come with us. You become an ambassador of the next stage of your energetic unfolding and the next iteration of humanity itself. But you cannot get there until you land in that point of stillness. We've taught since the beginning of unity the power and the importance of our prayer and meditation time. We've taught for the last 20 or 30 years the power and the importance of being aware of our energetics, of our vibration, of our own frequency. We've taught for I don't know how many years, get out of your mind and into your heart. But you don't get out of your mind and inch down into your heart. I mean, you can, but that is the longest and hardest journey. But when you land in that point of stillness, it's like you come down into your lower belly, your hip space, your womb, if you have a womb, that lower part of your being, and you land in that place called home. And when you land there, it is still. And it is power. And it is presence. And from that place, you just inch your awareness up just a little bit. And you land in the lower part of your heart and you go, whoa. Wow. I had no idea my heart could feel like this. This is where we're called to be. When we talk about we need to put more awareness into our beingness, this is what we're talking about. You cannot find it until you land in stillness. You cannot get there from your head. You can get there from your feet, not by being in action, but by connecting to the ground. You can get there from your hips. You can get there from your dantian. You can get there from your spiritual heart. And when you do, everything changes. Anthony DeMello is one of my favorite mystics, and he tells a story in his book, The Enlightened. He tells a story about a man who was alone in the desert, a traveler, lost, despaired of ever finding water, This man was going and going and going. He was dehydrated. He was starting to hallucinate. He was almost crawling. He was struggling up one hilltop and down another and up a hilltop and down another, just in hopes of sighting a stream somewhere in that desert. He kept looking in every direction with no success. And as he staggered, his foot caught on a dry bush and he stumbled to the ground. And when he hit that ground, he lay there. No energy, couldn't move, didn't even have the energy to lift himself up. He had no energy to struggle anymore, to search anymore. He had no hopes of surviving this ordeal. And he lay there. And he surrendered. Helpless and dejected, he suddenly became aware of the silence. The silence of the desert. And on all sides, the majestic stillness reigned, undisturbed by the slightest sound. Suddenly, he raised his head. He had heard something. Something so faint that only the sharpest ear and the deepest silence would lead to its detection. The sound of running water. Heartened by the hope that this sound aroused in him, he rose and he kept moving until he arrived at a stream of fresh and cool water. But he would never have found that stream of fresh and cool water had he not fallen into stillness, fallen into surrender. That's an important story for us because many of us try so hard. We work so hard to get it done, to figure it out. We work and work and work and work. We think, oh, one more thing and one more thing and two more things and 16 more things. And then you get somebody who comes in and you're like, I'm all done. And they go, oh, would you? And you're like, absolutely. Right? Tammy? That would be me asking her to do one more thing. I'm going to teach her the power of no. But we try so hard. And we go, but stop it. Stop this week. Give yourself at least this week. Give yourself the time to go sit outside if it's gorgeous like it is today. Give yourself time to sit in your meditation chair longer than your I get up and I meditate because it's what I do routine, right? Give yourself permission to lay out on your bed and take a meditative nap in beingness. Give yourself permission to do something different this week, not because you go do, but because you can be. And when you do that, and when I do that, and when my consciousness buddies and I do that, we find this preciousness of life. This preciousness. Like imagine, many of you probably are grandparents or parents or aunts or uncles. Remember that preciousness of that newborn baby? It's like, oh. And all the people who post their newborn babies on Facebook. I mean, that's one of the reasons I stay on Facebook, right? To see who the newborn babies are, to see the preciousness of their face. It's the preciousness. And when you create the space in your body, mind, heart, soul, spirit, when you create the space in your consciousness, what arises is a sweetness. The preciousness. And it's as if your vision becomes HD. It's as if the colors in our new dimension of new humanity now are different. They're brighter, they're more brilliant, they're more exquisite, but there's also a quality like never before. And that's how we know there is a new consciousness. And we here at Unity Church of the Hills, and we here in Unity and New Thought, we're the ones because we already have the framework. We already know the principles. We need to get out of our head in the principles, integrate them, embody them, step into them, and become the new that we want so desperately. When you drop out of your head and open your heart, when you pop up from everything that is already known into a new dimension, into the quantum realm, into the new, what's possible, it lights up. And when it lights up in your vision, it lights up in your being. What if we really took the time in the stillness to awaken, to choose to be that presence of the Christ itself that was birthed this week, to be that presence of a new consciousness that will change this world? Would you make that commitment with me this week? Spend the week. I know that's a lot. Spend an hour. Spend a moment with the intention of finding that stillness, finding the power in the pause. Just pause everything to be still with yourself. And from that point of stillness, we consciously co-create all that we desire: beauty, love, compassion, kindness, innovation, joy, new solutions, new systems. A whole new world begins right here and right now. The power of the pause is in this now moment. And as we pause, I say, God bless you all. Amen.